Let's just get... Shit, Joe!
What's that?
Shit!
What's that?
Fucking hell.
Hey!
Oh my... Oh! Oh shit! Oh my God!
Every wild camping encounter hides a dark secret. From a sudden arrow piercing a backpack in the deep woods to a shadowy figure silently stalking campers. How far would you go to survive? What's actually waiting for you in the dark? C.J. Faison, the creator of the YouTube channel. C.J. Faison is known for combining humor with paranormal investigations in remote forests, abandoned buildings, and places connected to local legends. On February 15, 2026, C.J. and his filming partner returned to Pocomoki Forest, an area rumored to contain a hidden graveyard and haunted by stories of a woman in white.
Why we always do this every time before we go film?
Oh!
What the fuck was that?
Oh no, I can't say.
Point the camera that way.
As they moved deeper into the woods, their casual exploration quickly became uncomfortable. Their flashlights provided the only light, while unexplained noises echoed around them. The wind grew stronger, carrying rustling sounds from the brush just beyond their view. They could not see anyone, but the movement became louder and seemed to draw closer. The heavy sounds felt deliberate, as though someone was following them while remaining outside the reach of their lights.
Bro, what the fuck was that? Sonny, what the hell was that?
Dude, it sounds like something knocking on a tree.
I gotta pee all of a sudden.
Oh, God.
Everybody here is cursed.
Oh, that's good to know.
A sudden crack broke the silence and caused both men to freeze. They searched the darkness but found nothing. After a few tense moments, they tried to dismiss the sound as a breaking branch and continued forward.
Maybe it's not. Look at this thing. Dude, that's for sure a tent. That's legit a tent.
You think anybody's in it?
I don't think so.
Deeper in the forest, they discovered a tent partly covered by leaves. The possibility that someone might still be inside made them nervous, but curiosity pushed them closer. Nearby, they also noticed sharp objects and weapons, including a machete and arrows.
Dude, there's leaves all over the top of this thing. Somebody just left this shit here. Oh shit! Oh my! Oh shit! Dude, I almost walked right into that. Look at that! Look! Oh! Damn it! Yo, that is a machete, bro.
Nice.
Don't touch that! Don't touch it!
Look at them bitches, dude.
Oh my gosh, it's like razor blades.
Dude, there's a light on. There's a light on. There's a light on inside the tent. Dude, what if there's a fucking body in there?
Hello?
Ignoring the warning signs, they approached the tent and looked inside.
What was that?
What?
Look in this. Bro, look in this. I'm not joking. Look in this. Put the camera in there. No, to the left more. And down.
They found a container filled with urine-stained pants and several food items, including Cheetos pretzels, a corn dog, and a Snickers bar. The condition of the campsite suggested that someone had been living there recently.
Oh my! Oh! Oh shit! Oh my God! Sonny! Oh shit! Oh my! What the hell, dude?
No.
You alright?
No.
What the hell?
My back. Oh my God.
Dude, I can't see anything. Let me see your flashlight.
Stop.
CJ, you got a... Dude, you got a fucking arrow sticking out of your back. Stop. Dude, that is a fuck.
Oh my God.
Dude, what?
Turn the fucking light off.
You got an arrow sticking out of your fucking back, dude.
Hang on. I said, I don't think it's in me. Where is it? Oh
It's in
my,
the front. Dude, it's a damn good thing you had that on.
oh my gosh, bro. It went through my water bottle. Look at that.
Without warning, something struck CJ from behind and knocked him to the ground. An arrow had pierced his backpack, passed through a water bottle, and lodged deep inside the padding. It had narrowly missed his body. The arrow appeared similar to those they had already seen nearby. At that moment, it became clear that they were not alone, and that whoever was hiding in the forest had been armed. CJ managed to escape Pocomoki Forest that night, but the incident left serious questions. Personal belongings and weapons near the tent suggested that the attack was not random. A flashlight only reveals a small section of the darkness, allowing someone outside the beam to remain hidden. The arrow may have been meant as a warning, but it came dangerously close to killing CJ. Who do you think was watching them from the woods? Their van camping trip was supposed to end with a quiet night under the stars. Instead, an unknown vehicle appeared in the darkness and disappeared the moment they started watching it. Brendan, the UK-based creator behind the YouTube channel. Brendan explores documents van camping journeys across the country. In March 2024, he met his friend Steve for a stealth camping trip in the Peak District. They began their adventure early, planning to hike across the rough landscape before returning to their vans.
Oh my goodness, we're going to be sliding down the hill. What's that smoking away in the distance, mate?
That's the cement factory.
Oh,
my God.
what an incredible view, eh? Absolutely unbelievable.
Oh my God.
At one point, they noticed smoke rising in the distance and briefly wondered what was causing it. They later realized it was coming from a cement factory. They also found their van covered in ice, but decided to continue climbing uphill instead of ending the trip.
Well, here's a turn up for the books. Bit of an update for you. Oh, me and Steve have had to part ways. We've had some pretty treacherous pieces of path, especially over that little hump there. That one's okay. And we spoke to a couple of chaps that are on a 15-mile walk around here. Now, we've been walking now probably for about 2 or 3 miles already. We asked the chaps, because they've been across it today, and they said once you get to that ridgeline, it's a lot further than that.
As the hike became more difficult, Brendan's health problems began slowing him down. The two friends agreed to separate. Steve continued along the trail while Brendan headed toward Bakewell.
Off right now, just gonna have a little walk around Bakewell. Got to try and get a Bakewell tart as well, or a Bakewell pudding. I don't want to make that mistake. A few independent little businesses. I'll go for 3 of your cherry Bakewells on there, please. Thank you. That's great. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
In the village, Brendan explored the countryside and tried the famous local pudding. When the friends met again later, Steve had changed his clothes after falling in the mud. They then visited the Lovelock Bridge, where around 10,000 padlocks had been attached by couples to mark important memories.
About 90% of the bridge is made up of padlocks.
That evening, Brendan and Steve drove to Weaver Hills near Ashbourne. The location was known for peaceful surroundings and impressive views, making it seem ideal for a quiet night.
Had a look on Park for night, and my goodness, have we got a treat in store for us tonight. And we're staying in a place called the Weaver Hills, this particular park up. So we're going to hit the road, head down to near Ashbourne, and go and have a quick look into the Weaver Hills.
Change is very distinct.
My God, it's a beast. It's a logger.
Oh yes, look at that. They'll be running all night.
You reckon?
I don't know. Bloody hell, this don't look like a tractor anywhere, except to a farm.
We've had a couple of tractors go by, and judging by a couple of reviews of this place, most of which are positive, some of the locals aren't too happy about people parking here. But I can guarantee you, it's probably something to do with rubbish. It is what it is.
Brendan was aware that some local residents disliked campers using the area, but he believed their vans would be safe. After eating dinner and having Bakewell tart for dessert, Steve returned to his own van for the night. Their vehicles were parked beside a paved road where cars occasionally passed, so everything initially seemed normal.
Someone was just outside the van. Yeah, like whether it's a vehicle or not. Well, it's definitely a vehicle because I heard it.
Like Ford Connect van.
Well, why is he just stood there or sat there like stalking?
If you lucky, if you stand here, right?
Later, however, they noticed a vehicle nearby and could not see who was inside. Steve had rushed outside so quickly that he accidentally struck his head on the roof of his van. The vehicle's presence at such a late hour made both men increasingly uneasy.
That Land Rover?
Yeah. Okay, they saw me. I saw them. What I will say is we're here, right?
Yeah.
Look at the distance between the farm, right? So we're looking at it from here. The light's gone off. Right.
So what would that light have been then?
That would have been a vehicle, mate. I've got to be honest, like, because that farm's quite a way away. You're not going to just get anybody coming down here, are you? And there's only another option of doing this, Brendan.
But there's definitely something or someone at the brow of that hill. Look with your naked eye at the top of that hill.
Yeah. It's a fire. Look at the heat off. Look at the glow off it.
What the hell are they doing setting fires at this time of night? Car's gone past twice.
Yeah. So we have two vehicles.
One was a van.
One was a van, definitely a little van.
Yeah.
And the other was
Land Rover.
yeah, that land.
They continued watching, unsure whether they were seeing the same vehicle or a different one. Suddenly, it sped away almost as if the driver realized they had been noticed. The car vanished into the darkness, leaving Brendan and Steve uncertain about what had happened. It may have been an ordinary passerby, but Steve could not shake the feeling that the situation was more threatening.
We're going to carry on staying here. We're going to kind of disregard that a little bit. Quite honestly, horrific in the middle of the night. But as Steve said, it would have been a lot better if whoever that was, whatever it was, at least if they'd have stopped and just said something. Because we were outside the vehicles. It might have just given us a bit more of an inkling of what their intention was. But try and settle in again for the second time tonight.
I'll tell you what, if there's anything going on, just hit the horn, alright?
Alright, I'll see you in the morning. Well, I'll see you in a few hours.
Despite their concern, they decided not to let the encounter ruin the trip. Both men returned to their vans and tried to sleep. The rest of the night passed without another incident, and they left unharmed. Curved roads and uneven hills can make distant headlights appear closer or remain visible longer than expected. Still, the vehicle left as soon as they noticed it. Do you think the driver was simply passing through, or had someone been watching their camp? This unsettling story comes from TikTok creator E.S. Dawns, where Stephen usually shares outdoor adventures and beautiful scenery. On June 24th, 2020, Stephen and a close friend were camping and enjoying a quiet evening outdoors. After dinner, they opened Randonautica, an app that generates random GPS coordinates for users to explore. Curious about where it might lead, they followed the location into an isolated mountain area. The route took them along a narrow road through what appeared to be an abandoned town. Empty vehicles sat nearby, while a steep drop made turning around almost impossible.
Okay, so this Randonautica app just brought us to this creepy town, and honestly, when we saw this, we should have turned around and left. We couldn't even really turn around at this point because the road was so narrow and it was such a steep drop off on the other side. Even though it was getting dark really quick, and next thing we know, the sun had gone down.
As they continued, the town seemed frozen in time. Old houses stood along the road and mannequins could be seen inside several windows. No people appeared, and the silence made the area feel even more disturbing. The coordinates eventually led them to an overgrown section of forest covered with debris. Stephen and his friend left the vehicle and began exploring.
I don't know how to explain this. They're the only ones around, and a random rock falls. I think that was a sign that we should leave. Everything about this place was just giving me really bad vibes. As soon as I realized it's some sort of face, we took off running. I don't know what it is with this town, why there's all these abandoned cars, and no people, and mannequins in the window.
Without warning, a large rock rolled nearby. They could not see anyone or anything that might have caused it. Although the sound felt like a warning, they continued searching the area. Beneath some debris, they discovered an object shaped like a human face. Its twisted appearance frightened them, and they immediately ran back to their vehicle. Once inside, they felt safer, but the experience remained difficult to explain. The app had guided them to an abandoned town filled with silent buildings, empty cars, mannequins, and a strange object hidden in the woods. Random coordinate apps do not know what is waiting at each location, but unfamiliar places can make every detail feel more threatening. Do you think they found everything by chance, or were they somehow meant to discover it? The footage comes from Camping with Sasquatch, a United States-based YouTube channel that documents remote camping trips, unusual forest sounds, and strange tree formations. Uploaded on March 5, 2025, the video follows the narrator and his friend Brandon inside Sam Houston National Forest in Texas. Before beginning a nighttime hike, the two men discussed recent reports of possible Sasquatch activity in the area. During the hike, Brandon made a loud howl, hoping something in the forest might answer. Nothing responded. Instead, the woods remained completely silent, creating an uncomfortable feeling as they waited in the darkness.
Tree got pushed over. Just right up this way, probably, I don't know how far. It wasn't really far. But it was
200 yards maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
A few minutes later, a tree roughly 100 to 150 yards away suddenly came down. The sound of cracking wood and the heavy impact echoed through the forest. What made the moment more unusual was that there appeared to be no wind strong enough to explain the fall. After the men returned to camp, the strange activity did not seem to end. The following day, Brandon heard another sharp cracking noise in the forest. Barred owls began calling soon afterward, showing that unexplained sounds were still occurring during daylight.
It's kind of interesting that a broken tree, probably 8 feet up the hike, going through. It's pretty cool. If you can see that through there, it's a bit odd. Let's see if we can have a closer look at that. Look at this. It's like a little dome again. Wow. God.
While exploring the surrounding area, the men also noticed several unusual tree formations. Some trees had been bent into arches, while others formed dome-shaped patterns or small structures that looked similar to shelters. These formations appeared different from the trees around them and created the impression that something could hide beneath or behind them. Old or damaged trees can collapse without strong wind, and natural pressure can bend branches into unusual shapes. Still, the sudden crash and repeated cracking left both men uncertain. Do you think they found ordinary forest damage or signs that something had been moving through the area? The Bell Explorers are known for investigating isolated woodlands across the United Kingdom that are connected to local legends, strange encounters, and unsettling folklore. On July 22, 2024, they returned to Daring Woods, a location often called the Screaming Woods by local residents. Their previous visit had ended in panic after an unknown presence forced them to run. Determined to confront whatever they had experienced, Daniel and Joe planned to remain longer and record anything unusual that appeared.
Me and Joe, we're literally maybe 10 metres down for it because the original spot where we was last time is so overgrown you can't actually see anything, so we haven't heard anything as of yet, so...
Humid, isn't it?
Yeah, what was that? I had a bit of a... I'm getting battered by the mosquitoes. Some creepy old paths down here. If there are any spirits present, could you make a noise or anything? I heard that dog bark then.
Yeah.
What's that?
The air felt humid, heavy, and strangely motionless. As they moved farther into the woods, they heard quiet rustling among the trees, a dog barking somewhere in the distance, and other noises that seemed out of place.
I can hear someone walking. Joe, this is creeping me out. Oh, I just heard a knock again. This is get... Shit, Joe!
What's that?
Shit!
What's that?
Fucking hell. No, Joe, we got no cars over there. What are we gonna do?
We're gonna have to chance it, aren't we?
Oh,
That's the car.
f***ing joking, didn't you? Did you see that?
Yeah, there was definitely something there.
I swear, it looked like a person.
It did look like a person, didn't it? Walking across.
I don't want to go that way, Joe.
No, I'm not sure about this, you know.
Then a human-shaped shadow suddenly crossed the path ahead of them. It appeared solid and moved with purpose before disappearing into the bushes. When Daniel and Joe changed their position, more movement began behind them.
I don't even
Oh,
we're not running.
No, I'm not running.
We're not running.
I'd like to know what it is. That was a bit close for comfort, that one.
I'm getting a distance on that. I'm fucking playing with that shit, mate. We're not running though. We're just gonna keep a distance because this happened to us last time and now something's livened up. We've pissed something off or something and we don't know what it is. I can see a light. What's the lights? Oh shit.
Oh, that's the car park.
Is that the car park?
Yeah.
Shit, I just saw someone down there. Shit. I'm sure I just see someone.
They could not tell whether they were dealing with another person or something else. However, the sounds and shadows remained dangerously close, creating the disturbing feeling that something was silently observing them. As their fear increased,
What's that? Is that someone out there?
Shit, is that something? I can't even see.
No.
Shit, there's people. Not again. We can't do this shit. Every time. We ain't doing this. Which way was it? This way. I ain't doing that. We need a car. You're following us. Have they gone? I can't see anyone. Torch is dying.
Oh.
Shit.
Yours is 1%, mine's already gone.
Fuck. Too many gates to jump.
the movement seemed to follow them through the forest. Their lights also began to fail, making it harder to see what was hiding beyond the narrow beams. Daniel and Joe decided to retreat toward their vehicle. The figure did not behave like an animal moving randomly through the woods. It seemed to place itself between them and their route, out remaining nearby instead of running away. What began as an attempt to face their previous fear quickly became a situation they could no longer control. Even after reaching safety, both men felt as though the figure had not lost them. It had simply allowed them to leave. Do you think Daniel and Joe encountered a person following them, or something they could not explain? On November 2nd, 2021, adventurous traveler Trevor set out alone for a wild camping trip in Dartmore, England. After a difficult hike, he reached a campsite high on the misty moors. Trevor expected to spend a calm night surrounded by the eerie fog. Feeling satisfied after completing the climb, he chose a level area and began setting up his tent. He had no idea that something would soon disturb the peaceful evening.
This looks like the perfect spot. Perfect pitch. It's nice and level. Seems to be enough room to get a tent up. There we go. So that's where I'm going to be sleeping tonight. Looks quite level. Right, so I'm going to finish pegging it out. We get in.
Once the campsite was ready, Trevor relaxed inside the shelter. As darkness approached, the fog became thicker and covered the surrounding landscape. The moors grew quiet, creating an increasingly unsettling atmosphere.
Right, so it's 5:15. I'm in the tent. I've just closed the door up to try and get some heat in here. At 20 to 8, so about 15 hours.
Trevor settled into the tent and prepared to rest. Just as he began to relax, a strange noise outside suddenly startled him. Unable to see what was causing it,
Quite cold in the winter, perhaps, but it's really no more mesh than... Hey!
Trevor listened carefully while his fear increased.
Really no
He gathered
more mesh
enough
than...
courage to call toward the unknown presence. Then he slowly opened the tent to investigate what was moving nearby.
What are you doing? Don't eat my poles. No, 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 no. Go on. Go away. You're eating my ropes. You're going to snap on my ropes, you little git. Come on. Nick off. Go on. You're not coming in here. Good boy.
To his relief, the visitor was not a threatening person or a mysterious creature hidden in the fog. It was only a curious wild horse chewing on parts of his tent. After Trevor understood what had caused the noise, the tension quickly disappeared. The horse eventually moved away, and the rest of the night passed without any further problems. The following morning, Trevor safely left Dartmoor. Thick fog can limit visibility and make nearby sounds difficult to identify. Do you think you would have opened the tent or stayed inside until the noise stopped? On December 23rd, 2022, Stu and Jane shared an episode from their road trip through Ireland. The video continued shortly after they left Clonakilty, a town they had grown especially fond of during their visit. Later that afternoon, they began searching for a peaceful place to park overnight. After several unsuccessful stops along the coast, they found a quiet location near the pier at Rosscarbery. The parking area was sheltered beside the rocks and initially seemed perfect. Local people were fishing nearby. The tide moved gently and the weather shifted between sunshine, rain, and wind. That night, the strong wind made it difficult to identify the sounds outside.
You might not be able to hear me too well. It's a great park up. There's about 6 fishermen down here. They must have caught about 24 mackerel last night. The tide's just turning. So we were going to move on, but I don't know. I might just hunker down here. And so we're just coming to the end of the 3rd week, going into our 4th week. It doesn't feel like the last trip. Time's just gone. It feels effortless.
Jane thought she could hear either a vehicle or people talking, but she was not certain. Without warning, something struck the rear of the van with a loud impact directly behind where Jane's head was resting.
I heard sort of a car in the wind, but I sort of didn't think any more about it. And then I was sort of half asleep and I thought, God, I can hear voices. And the next minute, bang, on the back of the van where my head was. And yeah, so...
And I think when I must have somehow in that, I heard something or heard you just at the time where I could hear a voice outside, and then there was this massive, what felt like a huge bang hitting the van.
It felt like something big had hit.
The noise immediately woke both of them. Stu quickly switched on the interior light to show whoever was outside that they were awake. As soon as the van lit up, the person nearby rushed back toward a vehicle. By the time Stu opened the door, the car was already speeding away into the darkness.
I heard the car skidding away. I don't think I'd have got out if I knew they were still out there, because that's probably the wrong thing to do, is to go out and confront. No, I chucked an egg at the van.
They must have known we were here. You don't just happen to drive down here. I reckon it was those 3 kids. What do you want to do?
I don't know. You don't answer. What do you want to like that?
Well, we're not going to let it get to us.
Only afterward did they discover what had hit the van. Egg was running down the rear light and the broken shell was lying on the ground. There was no damaged window or dent, but the impact had sounded so powerful that they initially believed something much larger had struck the vehicle. They now had to choose between remaining there and hoping it was a single incident, or leaving in case the person returned. The road ended behind them, and dark water bordered the parking area, making the location feel more isolated. Knowing they would not be able to sleep, Stu and Jane quickly packed up and drove away.
Don't want to risk it, we won't sleep anyway, so we're just going to move.
It was really stressful turning around on the pier in the pitch black night, with the front and rear sensors going off. There's a bollard down there.
Let's get around here, leave it.
After reaching a safer place, they talked about the fear, anger, and rush of thoughts that followed the incident. They also recognized that an egg was minor compared with what could have happened. The experience did not end their trip. The next day, they continued traveling west, and refused to let one disturbing night change how they lived on the road. A sudden impact can make the body react before the mind understands what happened. Do you think throwing the egg was only a careless prank, or was someone deliberately trying to frighten them away? On March 26, 2025, Polly from Pioneer Polly returned to the gold-rich rivers of New Zealand. His channel documents gold hunting through sniping dredging and metal detecting in remote waterways.
So, officially doing it again. I got no expectations for today. Like I said, I'm down here for 3 weeks and I don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself. See what kind of gold I can find and ultimately just have a good time.
The gold by using what's called a snuffer bottle. You just squeeze and let go and it sucks up the gold.
Not a bad chunky little piece. So I went to the very bottom of that hole, didn't see anything else, so let's find a new spot. I'm just gonna get my gear here, head on downstream a little ways, see if I can find one more spot and then head back to camp, have dinner, and then come come back out tomorrow morning. So I just changed spots and I found a nice little flake in this thin little crack. This one might be hard to fill, but I'll give it a try.
What I'm doing here is removing a bunch of rock so I can access the smaller gravelly material that's on the bedrock. Sift through it looking for that heavy ironstone and obviously gold as I come across it.
Okay, so about 10 minutes later, I've been breaking up some bedrock and now I'm starting to see a bunch of little gold. So let me just film it and see if we can find something else on camera.
Even though it's unlikely I'm going to find anything big in the area I'm currently working in, it's still super relaxing, fanning material away and sucking up little bits of gold.
Alright, so day one complete. I got all my stuff laid out everywhere. We're going to go back to camp and dump out the gold, see what we have, and then just try to beat it tomorrow. At base camp, got the snuffer bottle here, and then we're gonna see what we got in a couple hours. Hurry up!
Ta-da!
We got a special rock.
You weren't even looking for that.
I don't know what that is.
So there you have it, a little bit of gold for a few hours that were in the water.
Alright, so I'm gonna go make some food and then I'm gonna let this dry, put it away, and...
Soon after arriving, Paulie entered the cold current and searched beneath a trapped boulder. While clearing gravel from a tight section of the riverbed, he discovered 2 small gold nuggets. Farther upstream, Reese operated the dredge while Paulie examined a rock wall. There he noticed fossil patterns believed to be almost 400 million years old. The river had slowly worn away the stone, exposing the ancient shapes.
It's been another hour. I haven't been finding anything, but I just found a pile of ironstone and then one nice little flake. Just using my flashlight to look into deeper crevices, and I found a nice piece of gold.
So this piece was actually hard to get out. But because I was so good at finessing it, I was able to save it.
Yeah, a little picker.
Another one.
I made my way downstream to a spot I passed when hiking up. This spot was where I found the first set of fossils and our first thicker chunk of gold.
Oh yeah.
My tweezers are in my bag downstream, so I'll try to get it out, and if I can't, I'll go get my tweezers. Check this out. I just banged out a fossil. The other half of it is still on the bedrock.
Oh, look, another one.
I'm not so sure I'll be able to show you this, but I found 2 nuggets. It's in a really tough spot though.
Later, Paulie separated from the group and followed a strong detector signal into a secluded channel between steep banks. Beneath a fallen log, he uncovered a gold nugget, weighing about 4 to 5 grams, the largest find of the expedition.
I have my flash on because it's sort of dark in here. Reese, Jonesy, and I are at the river, but we all decided to split up and try different tributaries. And my very first target I got was gold. It's screaming, so it should be gold, or it should, oh my god. Look at that. Wow, that was quick. Yep, sure enough, that is a gold nugget. It's actually kind of heavy for that size. And I'll have a detect, see what else could be here. Bloop. We got a big nugget in there, probably 5 or 6 grams maybe. Anyway, how you doing? Oh, nice. Got a piece of gold right there. And another one right there. So for sure there's a lot of gold here.
How you felt? Yeah. Oh, that's alright.
It's a thick one. It looks a little bit more silvery.
Yeah.
A little bit more white. How's that look like in the sleeves?
It's mine now.
Oh, it's blocking everything.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes, sir. I'm gonna turn on the light. You guys can probably see that right in the center of the screen. I believe it's smaller than Jonesy's, but it's how you use it. All right, so my piece, I lost it somehow, but luckily there's another one right near it. So at least I got one of the brothers, and the other one is somewhere to be found later. Got in the pan, and there it is right there. The same one that was in the water. Anyways, it's Jonesy's now. I'm gonna be moving some of this stuff out of the way and see if there's anything on the bedrock. Yes!
I thought there was another bit.
Yes, look at that. Woo!
No way.
It's another heavy bit. Probably about 3 grams, 4 grams. Jonesy's now just picking away at that spot. I don't know, 25 grams. 25 grams. 2906, so just under an ounce, or a troy ounce, which is 31 grams, which I believe is around 4,700 Kiwi dollars.
The final total reached more than 29 grams of gold. Some viewers believed richer pockets may still have been hidden near weaker signals, and beneath rocks Paulie did not move. Gold is heavy, so flowing water often traps it inside cracks or behind large obstacles. If one large nugget was beneath that log, what else might still be hidden in the river? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.